Josh, how do you carry over what you were able to do the last couple of weeks and keep this roll going?
Yeah, just continuing to have the same mindset, trusting each other, having a good week of practice, putting as much effort into preparation as we can, and it's going to take all three phases again this next game. But again, Saturday night's the only thing on our mind right now.
You can't really look at the standings and things like that because you know what you're up against. It's just about you guys winning at this point, right?
Yeah, that's what it comes down to. And again, just trusting the guys in this locker room. I feel like it's a situation we've been in before, and just using that previous experience that we have to carry us over.
Coach talked about, focusing on about the task at hand. It's always a week to week, right? But this point in time of the season, got to bring your A game because the B game ain't good enough, right? So what do you think are some of the requirements of having that certain type of focus?
Yeah, I think, again, number one is practice, making sure that we're straining and taking care of all the small details that sometimes get overlooked. That's the fundamentals of the game. That's something Coach McDermott preaches all the time is fundamentals, ball security, and mentality. So I think that all kind of wraps up in the same category for me, and I think a lot of guys would feel the same way about that. But again, just lean into the experience that we have.
What is having a game, most recently like the Dallas, kind of the all-around dominating performance, to have that to maybe build on going down the stretch? I know you've been through this before, but that has to validate a lot of what you're talking about. Yeah,
I think you talk about December and January football games, weather could be a part of that equation, and to go out there and trust the run game and trust our offensive linemen up front to go get a job done, and they did it so well this last game. And that was a really good interior that we faced. So credit to our guys for working hard and communicating well and going out there and executing. But not many teams I think can change your game plan like that midway through a game and just attack the run. It's something that was good to see from our guys, and it was good to see Joe just continuing to call on it. And that's something we're going to need down the stretch.
What are the challenges you guys face with Khalil Mack?
Yeah, he's still one of the more premier pass rushers in this league. He's got 15, I think, on the year. A guy that can be extremely dominant. He played at UB, so I think there's some probably extra motivation going against the Bills, and he's a fantastic player. But they got some other guys on that defense too that fly around, that can make some plays. And I couldn't tell you what's going on in their minds right now with coaching change and this and that, but I can tell you one thing, that they're going to be ready to play come Saturday night. So we got to put on our game face and prepare to play a 60-minute battle.
You talk about giving Joe credit to keep going to the run, but when things start rolling like that, in your communication with Joe, do you get on the headset at all and say, like, hey, keep feeding Jimbo, like, this is working?
Well, yeah, I think it was at halftime, just keep calling it. And, credit to our offensive assistant coaches on there, too, for, like, trying to keep Joe in his seat because, coordinators, they want to throw the ball, too. Don't get it twisted. You want to be able to be balanced and throw in some wrinkles and have the splash plays. But, again, when something's working so well, to go away from it, it's very hard to do, and it's probably not the smart thing to do. So, again, kudos to him and our staff for just trusting the guys up front and trusting Jimbo and our run game and just continuing to attack it.
As the leader on this offense, do you get a say on which offensive lineman gets a spike after a big touchdown, or is that by committee?
It's large in part of whatever one's down there when you score. But Dion, I think the previous or two plays before that, had that big pancake block, and I got up and I looked for him, and he happened to be right there. So we try to practice that and get everybody a spike. Mitch doesn't typically like to spike the ball. He's just like, high five and get me off this field. Let me go sit down. But we'll get him one this week.
Do you owe Kyle Allen anything for helping you out with the wristband?
Yeah. That's. I don't know if you guys saw the video. It was stuck to my shirt on the back. I was running and somehow got ripped off. And I got up and I couldn't find it anywhere. I just assumed that one of the Cowboys guys picked it up and threw it to their sideline because that's what defenders will typically do. The next play, I felt something like hitting my low back, and I'm like, what the heck is that? And I ripped it off my shirt. And yeah, but Kyle was ready. He was a 10th, and it's a good sign of a number 2 right there.
You mentioned Dion's block. When you guys watch that in film, What's it like in the room when you guys are all around?
Yeah, it gets the juices flowing. I'll tell you that. A lot of guys love seeing that. It's one of the more fun plays I think I've ever watched. That's a run play. I mean, for him to go do that 20-plus yards downfield, right at the goal line, and watching it back on tape. Watching it live was awesome because I was kind of right there. I was like the first guy there. But watching it on tape's just as good too.
So James, in terms of a receiver, is that something he's improved this year and you've gained more trust in him? Is there anything specifically he's done to kind of...
He's worked extremely hard, on the jugs machines before and after practice, running routes in practice, making sure that we're getting a lot of reps on those. But again, just trusting his ability to go out there and make some plays, and he's been providing for us, and we're going to continue to go back to him. That's what Coach Brady talks about. The greatest measure of success is the opportunity to do more, and he's gotten the opportunity to do more because again he's been doing his job and making some unbelievable plays. And that catch that he made in the end zone, that's not an easy catch. You can ask any receiver. That's a tough one. The nose of the ball is going down and away from you, and to stick out your hands and catch it with your hands, it's not easy to do. So credit to him on that one.
O-line not usually a group that gets a ton of shine, but seeing the way this group has been successful, especially coming off this last game, what is it like to see that group all together succeed as well?
It's awesome. They work extremely hard. I got a lot of love for those guys. I've been here with Mitch for quite some time now, and in terms of just collective group, it's the best I've ever been around. Guys care about each other. They work hard. They communicate well. And you're starting to see that pay off during games. But, I've been seeing it all year, and they haven't gotten nearly enough credit they deserve. And, again, down the stretch here that we're going to need to ride them and rely on them, and they're up for the task.
Keep upping the budget for Christmas gifts?
Yeah, it's getting a little crazy now. So I think I started off too strong. I think I should have continued to casually build my way up, but they deserve it.
Josh, on and off the field, what has Deion Dawkins meant to this team this season? He's playing at an all-pro level.
Yeah, mindset, mentality-wise, it's the best he's ever had. The ways that he takes care of his body, the transition that he's done over the last year and a half mentally is unbelievable. I got a lot of love for him, a lot of respect for him, because that's not easy to do, especially being kind of deep into your career, to kind of change your entire process, and he's done it, and it's been working out for him. And again, he's the Walter Payton Man of the Year for us. So in terms of off the field, just making sure that he's doing everything right. His attention to detail is outstanding, and again, he's having the best year of his career because of that. And love the guy.
Josh, how humbling is it to know that as good as this team is, you're ninth in the AFC? How hungry does that make you get where you need to be?
Yeah, that part does suck. Don't get me wrong, but again, we're not paying much attention to that. We gotta control what we can control, and that's Saturday night against the Chargers.
Coming off 2 big wins, still understanding what's ahead, do you still feel like this is a team that plays desperate, still feel like you guys' backs are still against the wall?
Absolutely. Every game from here on out is a playoff game for us. That's the mentality that we have. It's essentially win or go home. So, again, we got to be prepared for every punch that the Chargers can throw at us, and be able to respond and adjust accordingly in game. So yeah, we got to be ready.